What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Game Plan Overtime Edition. I am joined by my guest, Alan Seslowsky. Make sure you check out the episode of the Game Plan we just recorded. And if you're really loving what Alan and I are picking or putting down, go check out the RotoWire podcast because we did that together as well. Alan, we are spending all day together, and I love it, baby.
I know. I can't get enough of Matty Kiwoom in my life. Now, this is interesting. I like the whole concept of overtime. If you don't want to like listen to the whole podcast, here's a way to get like that quick snippets and then get people interested in the long form. So let's give them some. Do I get paid overtime for this, or is this it's overtime, but it's on the arm, as they say.
I'll put you in touch with my boss. His name's Matt Kelly. You can ask.
Oh,
him
it's going to be free then.
tips.
It's going to be free.
So what we did in the game plan, we talked about Dynasty, Startup, Superflex, more specifically in our theories, our tactics. So what we're going to do now is we're really just going to play a name game. I don't really have a cool name for it, so we're going to call it the name game to be named later for FS Startup picks. So we're going to go rapid fire, and if you have anything you want to say about one of these players, feel free. I mean, this is the overtime sesh. This is where we can have a whole lot of fun. So first one up on the name game, Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence?
Justin Herbert. And I have no problem either way, but Justin Herbert, you know what? I'm thinking, I was going to go Justin Herbert, but I could see this being reversed the other way. But I just find myself like, what do I actually do when I'm in drafts? And if I'm at pick 5, I've always taken Justin Herbert. I've never taken Trevor Lawrence there, although that could prove to be a very big mistake by this time next year.
Trevor Lawrence, obviously that type of stuff. But, I mean, I'm taking Herbert here. I think there's so much touchdown regression coming his way in 23. I mean, and people forget he was quarterback 2 on a points per game basis just a year ago in 2021. He's got that ceiling. So I'm taking Herbert, who has sneaky rushing flow too.
Yeah, you know what I like best about him though, Matty, is that they have Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator this year.
Baby.
Yeah, offensive coordinator rankings need to be a thing, right? And more, not necessarily just like rankings, but like upgrades. Like, what is the Chargers OC ranking versus what it was last year? What's that quotient? And for everything that I know about Kellen Moore is that he's going to be an upgrade on the passing game, and they drafted a first-round rookie, so maybe that's the more interesting play. Whereas where Calvin Ridley is the new addition to the passing game of Lawrence, there's a question mark. That could be good, that could be bad. No bad decision here, and I like all of the advanced stats that you provided for Herbert.
Here we go. We go with a no-lose situation at quarterback. Here's really a no-lose situation at wide receiver. But are you going Jefferson or Chase?
Oh, I have a definite opinion on this one. This one is Jefferson, and I know that goes against player profilers edict from the boss, Matt Kelly. It's just stable production. That's what I'm looking for. I agree in any given week that Chase's ceiling is a little bit higher, but we've talked about that. We want to see it for a minimum of 3 seasons with a quarterback and a minimum of 2 seasons before we anoint the king at the receiver and running back position. Jefferson, he's 10 targets off the bus. Chase is going to have those games where it's 6 targets, it's 8, it's 12 or 14, and he's with another alpha. I know. I mean, are you on the Chase side of this? Because to me, there's like it's Jefferson tier break, Chase tier break, then whoever the rest are. Whereas most people have them in the same tier.
No, I am clearly a Jefferson guy. I know you're kind of the odd man out, right, on Sonic Truth in this regard, but I'm going Jefferson.
Good.
Because in fantasy, all we really have is what we know versus projectability. And Chase is great, don't get me wrong, but I think there's a little bit of projectability there where look at Jefferson. 1,400, 1,600, 1,800 receiving yards. Now, Alan, I haven't taken a standardized test in some years, but my deductive reasoning tells me 2Ks on the horizon, baby.
Yeah, it's the floor-ceiling combination. And again, not to repeat and circle back, if you want to take Chase, we are giving you permission. It's just that in a startup, I'm not even taking him as my second pick. That's reserved for a rookie running back named Bijan Robinson.
Oh, Bijan, that's sparked some topics of conversation there on STP for sure. Also, one last thing about Jefferson. His career high in touchdowns is 10. I looked up Antonio Brown, perennial producer, someone that we thought was absolutely going to be on a Hall of Fame one day. He had 3 seasons over that, 12, 13, and 15. So I do think there are still more touchdowns that Justin Jefferson could have. That's why I'm going Jefferson. Here we go. Next one up. We teased it. I believe it was on the game plan. Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, again, these situations are all basically how do I want to construct my roster. Though Christian McCaffrey has seemed like a win now guy. His game probably will age a little bit better. That said, I found myself when I'm on the clock taking Barkley. Barkley is the engine that makes the offense go. I know they probably want to go away from him a little bit, feed Waller, feed some of the other receivers, but Barkley is the team's identity, whereas McCaffrey is not. He's just one of a great cog in the wheel, but he's just one of, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. And you could see a situation where they load manage him a little bit for games. If they're up by 17 points in the third quarter, maybe McCaffrey doesn't get out there, and he probably already has his points. I like Saquon Barkley here because he's one of the favorites to lead the league in touches this year.
Yeah, and they don't have that perceived backup that's really can handle the end of the game like Elijah Mitchell can. Elijah Mitchell's really good. We talked about that on RotoWire. Let's talk about some running backs.
Make your pick. Make your pick.
I'm taking McCaffrey.
Okay.
Definitely could take McCaffrey in the startup. I don't think it's crazy to think that maybe he becomes a slot receiver after he's done at running back. I mean, he's just such a special, skilled player that, there really is no limit to his talents, truly. He's proven that, especially coming back from injury. Ramondre Stevenson or Tony Pollard, Alan?
Oh, this is Ramondre Stevenson, man. Tony Pollard is already, age 26? And in redraft, rubber stamp, second round pick, rubber stamp. You want to take him at pick 12 in the first round? I wouldn't do it. Rubber stamp. But in a dynasty fantasy football, Ramondre is just more solid. I think I forget exactly where I heard this stat. I want to give credit. It was probably on someone on the Player Profiler Network that said it. That there's very few people very few running backs in New England that have ever caught 60 passes in a season, and one of them is James White. The other one's Ramondre Stevenson, and that's it. Did Ramondre actually have 60? I mean, did he get to that number?
I think it was 67 was his exact number.
There you go. Does it all. 24 years old. Ramondre Stevenson is this year's Josh Jacobs, the guy that we know is good, but nobody wants to make him a first-round running back, so he falls into the late second in redraft, non-super flex, sometimes the third round. He goes as RB 14 to 10, somewhere in that range, but Ramondre Stevenson has the durability and the proven production. This is an easy call for me. How about you?
I'm probably slightly going Stevenson, and he had 69 very nice receptions.
Beautiful number
in 2022. But I mean, it's a lot closer for me, I think, than you, because Pollard, I think he could be a top 5 running back in 2023. And then, Mike, this is where I have to now decide: am I going to go with my gut? Am I going to go with what I see, the stats, and what's on the field? My gut tells me that the Patriots are not married to Stevenson long term. They supposedly had a lot of interest in Bijan Robinson. They were talking to other running backs. So for whatever reason, Belichick but that also could be a smokescreen because they did cut James Robinson already, and it does seem like it's going to be the Ramondre Stevenson show. So I am taking Stevenson over Tony Pollard, but I don't know if the gap is as big.
If you are a contender, and you're you're going to be a playoff team and a good playoff team, would you give your projected ninth your ninth overall pick, even in this draft? Would you give it for Ramondre? Would you trade a first round pick for Ramondre in a dynasty league?
Yes, I would, because now at that point we are talking about Kendre Miller, Roshan Johnson, Devon Achane. It's kind of pick your poison at that point of the draft. If Jordan Addison's there, no way, I'm taking Addison. But as long as if it's chalk, I'll take Stevenson over the 109.
Yep, I saw a trade go down in one of my leagues last year. That was Ramondre Stevenson was traded for Kareem Hunt and a second. I thought that was an obvious how the hell he doing that trade. So yeah, Steve, I'm big Stevenson guy. I think he's the top 7 running back this year.
All right, so let's go with a little bit of rapid fire wide receivers. DK Metcalf, JSN.
JSN, because he's a little bit of the unknown here. DK obviously probably has the higher floor, but in this particular part of the draft where you have to pick, I'm going to swing for upside. My upside quotient goes up every round. In round 1, I want a floor player. In round 8, I want only upside, and in between, a little bit more upside each time.
Oh, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, JSN I think has a higher ceiling long term. Christian Watson or Drake London?
Oh, this is Christian Watson, and it's not even close for me. Just look at their setups. Christian Watson was wide receiver 9 once he became a full-time starter in weeks 10 through 18. That's 2 months of sample. In the one game he played with Jordan Love, small sample, 4 catches, 100 yards, a touchdown. I think that Christian Watson, it belongs in the tier, even though at the bottom of it with Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, and he will be this time next year.
Completely agree. Drake London had a damn near 30% target share and was outside of the top 30 at wide receiver. And I don't know if that's going to be some come to Jesus moment for Arthur Smith. I don't think he's going to start chucking it. So give me Christian Watson there. Amon-Ra, St. Brown, or Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown's my wide receiver 3 in Dynasty, ahead of CeeDee Lamb.
Wow, okay.
You talked about our good friend Cody Carpenter's dog rating. I think that Amon-Ra St. Brown is on the cover of the dog rating book. I mean, he probably broke the dog rating scale. Amon-Ra St. Brown is just, if he wasn't a 4th-round real NFL pick, and I don't even know if that matters to people anymore, if he was like a 1st-rounder, we'd already be anointing him in the Jefferson Chase tier, even, or maybe just like right below it. I like the setup for him. Long term. And though Garrett Wilson he belongs in the top tier of Dynasty. I just don't. He has to earn Aaron Rodgers' trust. There's a little bit more question marks where we already know Amon-Ra is the guy, and you don't even have to pay retail. You pay wholesale when you're talking about Amon-Ra.
I thought we'd have a little bit of discourse here, but no, I'm with you 100% Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm actually a little nervous about Garrett Wilson. If Garrett Wilson was going to be Devontae Adams, then why did Aaron Rodgers not only bring Allen Lazard, but Randall Cobb with him?
That was my questions too. And you know what? Look, rookies can earn Aaron Rodgers' trust. He earned Christian Washington earned his trust at the end of last year, but there's just more options there. They want to be a run-based team. We love Garrett Wilson, but he don't even give him to me. I don't have him on any teams because I'm always taking Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Me too, and I'm also taking CeeDee Lamb. So my next one is CeeDee Lamb or A.J. Brown.
Yeah, this is CeeDee Lamb because I don't see a lot of a difference between A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They finished 5 and 9 in the rankings last year, the overall rankings. A.J. Brown's a great player, but CeeDee Lamb, he really proved that he can be that alpha last year. Close, but I'm going to take the age difference here, even though it's only like, a year and a half, if that.
Yeah, it's not a big difference in age, but I do think we're talking about a 1,400-yard receiver who could still have some more room to grow. So I'm going Lamb there as well.
Lamb will also have a little bit more market liquidity in 18 months from now.
Oh, great point. So if we're ranking out those top 4, you're going Amon-Ra, Lamb, Brown, Wilson?
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
I think I would do the exact same thing. Last one, a bit of a tight end battle, George Kittle or Dallas Goedert?
Yeah, George Kittle is the ultimate win you the week player, and he's going to get his game log is going to look like this: 4, 6, 46, 12, 8. If he's the win you the week guy, tight end rarely can win you the week. If you want to compete with those elite guys, I like George Kittle. Dallas Goedert's fine, man. I mean, you set him and forget him. You're never, even if he has 2 or 3 bad weeks, you're never benching him. But I want the tight end position. I treat like my wide receiver 3, where I want that Will Fuller type, that boomer bust guy, someone at least I know can get me 40 points, 35 points. That's George Kittle. How about you?
It's absolutely Kittle for me. I think the worst thing that's happened to Dallas Goedert is his value's gone up because now you're having to make this decision. I don't think it's much of a decision. George Kittle can win you championships. Dallas Goedert will get you to the playoffs, but he may not win you anything.
Yeah. Goddard versus Freiermuth is a question I think is a more appropriate one. And
that's exactly right. There's
no right answer.
ADP here has Kittle and Goddard going pretty dang close to each other, which is crazy. So we had to put it out there and we had to talk. We just had to keep the conversation going. Alan, thank you so much for joining me on the game plan. Thank you so much for sticking around for the overtime. You can find him on Twitter. He's at Alan Seslowsky over at RotoWire, killing the game. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.